There once was a small, peaceful village surrounded by golden fields and guarded by a single wooden gate. Every day at sunrise and sunset, the gate creaked open and shut, a simple rhythm that kept the village safe. And for decades, there was one man responsible for that rhythm: Ravi, the gatekeeper. Ravi was known by everyone, humble, kind, and endlessly giving. If a traveler arrived late, he opened the gate. If a merchant forgot his papers, Ravi waved him through. If strangers came begging for food or rest, Ravi smiled and said, "All are welcome here." The villagers loved him for it. They called him Ravi the Gentle. Parents pointed him out to their children as the example of what goodness should look like. But as years passed, something began to change. More and more strangers entered the village, some honest, some not. They brought trade, stories, and promises, but also theft, deceit, and trouble. The people grew restless. Shops began losing goods, animals disappeared from stables, and fear crept into the hearts of the villagers. Still, Ravi kept the gate open. He couldn't bear to turn anyone away. When the village council told him to be stricter, he said softly, "If I close the gate, I close our humanity." Then one night, under the silence of a moonless sky, the danger he ignored finally came home. Bandits entered the open gate and looted everything: the market, the granaries, even the temple. When the morning came, smoke rose over the fields and the village lay in ruin. Ravi sat by the gate, broken. His kindness, once praised, was now cursed. The people shouted, "You let them in! You never closed the gate!" And for the first time in his life, Ravi realized a painful truth. Goodness without boundaries is not virtue, it's exposure. This story isn't just about a village, it's about you. Because in your own life, you are the gatekeeper of your time, your emotions, your energy. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you help someone who wouldn't help you back, every time you forgive those who keep hurting you, you're leaving your gate open. And the world notices. Machiavelli once wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." What he meant was simple. If you are only kind, you will be devoured. If you are only cunning, you will be trapped. To survive and to stay powerful yet pure, you must be both. Kindness must be protected by wisdom. Generosity must be balanced by awareness. And love must never blind you to truth. The shocking cost of goodness isn't just emotional exhaustion. It's the loss of respect, control, and peace. Because the moment you refuse to close your gate, people will walk in, and some will never leave. But here's the beauty of Machiavelli's hidden truth. You don't have to become cruel to stop being exploited. You just have to become conscious. So before we dive deeper into the psychology behind this, take a moment. Ask yourself, who have I allowed through my gate that no longer deserves access? Because sometimes protecting your peace means disappointing others. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for your future is to finally close the gate. Drop this in the comments if it resonates with you. I close my gate with wisdom, because strength doesn't mean losing your compassion. It means learning how to guard it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Number 1, goodness as exposure. Think for a moment about the kindest person you know, the one who always says yes, who always helps, who never complains. The one everyone calls when they need something, but never when they want to give something. Now ask yourself honestly, are they truly respected, or are they simply useful? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Being good often makes you vulnerable, not secure. When you are consistently kind, people start reading you like a script. They know you won't fight back. They know you won't say no. They know they can stretch your limits because you won't push back. You become the office doormat, the one who cleans up everyone's mistakes, the friend who always pays for dinner, even when your wallet hurts, the family member who says yes to helping, even when your body screams for rest. And the worst part, you tell yourself it's the right thing to do. Let me tell you about a man I once knew, one of the best team managers I've ever met. He was thoughtful, kind, and endlessly giving. He covered for his employees, encouraged their growth, and shielded them from corporate pressure. But when the promotion came around, guess who got it? Not him. They chose someone louder, someone more assertive, someone who looked like a leader. Why? Because nice people rarely get rewarded. They get relied upon, used, and overlooked. In the eyes of the world, endless kindness doesn't read as strength. It reads as servitude. People don't respect what they can exploit. When someone is always available, their time loses value. When someone never sets boundaries, others stop noticing when they cross them. When someone never shows teeth, people assume they don't have any. Your goodness becomes your weakness. Not because kindness is wrong, but because unprotected kindness becomes exploitation. Machiavelli saw this clearly when he wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. If you are only kind, you're the lion caught in the trap. If you are only clever, you're the fox eaten by wolves. To survive, you must be both, because right now you've been trying to survive as a sheep in a world full of wolves. And that's exactly why you keep getting hurt." A lesson from the Bible, the story of Nehemiah. In the book of Nehemiah, there's a lesson that mirrors this truth. Nehemiah was a servant in the Persian royal court who returned to Jerusalem to rebuild its walls. He was kind and righteous, but also discerning. When his enemies, Sanballat and Tobiah, invited him to meet in a friendly discussion, Nehemiah sensed a trap. They pretended to seek peace, but he saw through their deception. He replied, "I am doing a great work and cannot come down." Nehemiah 6:3. That one decision saved his mission. Nehemiah was good, but not naive, compassionate, but cautious. He knew that pure goodness without awareness invites destruction. The world respects boundaries, not blind kindness. So remember this truth. Your goodness must be guarded by strength, your compassion balanced by wisdom. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my energy. Because light without a shield will always attract shadows. Number 2, the generosity trap. Here's something that will completely shift how you think about giving. The more you give, the less people appreciate it. I know that sounds backwards, because society tells us that generosity is always noble, always rewarding. But the truth is more complex. Generosity creates short-term applause and long-term expectation. At first, people clap for you. They praise your heart. They tell everyone how amazing you are. It feels good. It feeds your soul. But over time, something subtle and sinister begins to happen. Your generosity breeds dependency, entitlement, and eventually resentment. When you help someone once, they're grateful. Help them twice, they're thankful. Help them 10 times, and they expect it. Your exceptional kindness becomes their normal. And the moment you stop helping, they forget every yes and fixate on the one no. Suddenly, you're not generous. You're selfish. You're the villain for creating a standard they grew addicted to. Think about parents who give their children everything they ask for. The first few gifts bring joy and gratitude, but soon the excitement fades. The new phone isn't special anymore. It's just what mom and dad do. And when they finally say no, the kids cry unfair. Or think about your friendships. You're the one who always pays for dinner, who always drives, who always helps everyone move. At first they thank you, eventually they just assume you'll handle it. And if one day you ask for help, they're suddenly too busy. That's the generosity trap. You give and give until giving becomes your identity. And when you finally stop, you become the bad guy in everyone else's story. Your constant generosity doesn't build loyalty, it builds addiction. People become addicted to your giving, and like any addict, they lash out when the supply ends. There's a psychological principle behind this: hedonic adaptation. Humans quickly adjust to comfort. What once amazed them becomes ordinary. What once felt generous becomes expected. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, "Benefits ought to be conferred gradually, and in that way, they will taste better." He knew what most people still don't. Scarcity creates value. Abundance destroys it. So from now on, remember, your generosity should empower, not enable. Give wisely, not endlessly. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I give strategically. Because when your giving is guided by intention, not guilt, it becomes not just an act of kindness, but an act of strength. Number 3, the mask of virtue. Here's a truth that might make you uncomfortable. Society doesn't believe in reality, it believes in appearances. People don't care if you're genuinely good. They care if you look good. They don't judge your heart, they judge your image. This means that if you want to maintain influence, respect, and leadership, you must learn to wear the mask of virtue, the appearance of goodness, while maintaining control beneath the surface. Look at the most successful people you know. Do you think they got there by being endlessly nice? Of course not. They got there by being strategic, by knowing when to show kindness and when to show strength. They smile in public and make hard decisions in private. They show mercy when it serves a greater purpose and display firmness when it protects their mission. They understand that the appearance of virtue can open doors that pure honesty might close. Now, this isn't about faking who you are. It's about being wise about when to reveal your truth. Think of it like this. A surgeon must sometimes cut to heal. To an outsider, the act looks violent, but to the patient, it's life-saving. Real goodness doesn't always look good in the moment, but it produces the right outcome in the end. True leaders understand this paradox. Sometimes being truly good means looking temporarily bad. Sometimes helping someone means telling them no. Sometimes protecting your team means making decisions they won't like. The mask of virtue isn't about deception, it's about timing. It's about knowing when to show softness and when to reveal steel. Most people get this wrong. They show weakness to enemies and strength to friends, and in doing so, they lose both. The wise do the opposite. They reserve their vulnerability for those who have earned it and show composure to those who test it. Machiavelli captured it perfectly when he wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." He understood that perception shapes reality. If people perceive you as weak, you become weak in their eyes. If they perceive you as strong, you gain their respect, and respect creates stability. So remember this, your image is not vanity, it's strategy. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my image. Because in a world obsessed with appearances, mastering perception isn't manipulation, it's survival. Number 4, the economics of power. Every single thing you do has a cost. Every favor you grant, every time you say yes when you want to say no, every moment you spend helping others instead of building yourself. Most good people never think about this. They give and give until they have nothing left. Then they wonder why they feel exhausted, resentful, and taken advantage of. Here's what you need to understand. Your time, energy, and resources are finite. When you spend them on others, you have less for yourself. This isn't selfish to acknowledge, it's mathematical. Unlimited kindness drains your strength. And when you're drained, you can't help anyone, including yourself. Think about airplane safety instructions. They tell you to put your oxygen mask on first, then help others. Why? Because if you pass out trying to help someone else first, now 2 people need rescuing instead of 1. Life works the same way. If you exhaust yourself helping others, you become someone who needs help. Now you're a burden instead of an asset. Smart people understand that to survive and thrive, resources and energy must be guarded carefully. This doesn't make you mean. It makes you sustainable. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I said yes to everyone. Every request, every favor, every quick question that turned into hours of work. I thought I was being good, but you know what happened? I started resenting people. I felt angry and bitter. My own projects suffered. My own dreams got delayed. And ironically, I became less able to help the people who truly needed it. That's when I realized something crucial. Saying yes to everyone means saying no to yourself. And when you abandon yourself, you eventually abandon everyone else too. The most generous people in history weren't the ones who said yes to everything. They were the ones who said no to most things so they could say yes to the right things in a big way. Machiavelli once said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." You cannot command others if you cannot command your own time, energy, and resources. You cannot lead others if you cannot lead yourself. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my resources. Number 5, strategic use of virtue. I'm not telling you to become heartless. I'm not saying mercy, honesty, and generosity should be thrown away. What I'm saying is this. These virtues must be used like weapons precisely at the right time for maximum effect. A sword sitting on a shelf doesn't protect anyone, but a sword in the hands of a skilled warrior at the right moment can save a kingdom. Your goodness should work the same way. When you help someone, it should be intentional. When you show mercy, it should be strategic. When you're generous, it should create the outcome you want. Let me give you an example. Instead of helping everyone a little bit, help the right people a lot. Instead of being nice to everyone, be exceptionally kind to those who matter. Instead of saying yes to everything, say yes powerfully to the things that align with your goals. This approach does 3 things. First, your help becomes more valuable because it's scarce. Second, you actually create bigger positive impacts because you're focused. Third, people respect you more because you're selective. Think about the most respected leaders in history. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't gentle with injustice. He confronted it powerfully. Mother Teresa didn't help everyone in the world. She focused intensely on the poorest of the poor. They were all good people, but they were strategically good. They used their virtue as a tool to create change, not as a way to be liked by everyone. How you do this in real life? Before you say yes to any request, ask yourself 3 questions. Does this align with my values and goals? Can I do this without depleting myself? Will this person appreciate and respect what I'm doing? If the answer to any of these is no, you don't just say no. You say no kindly but firmly. When you do say yes, you do it fully. You give your best effort. You create real value. You make a meaningful difference. This way, your yeses matter. Your help is remembered. Your generosity creates loyalty instead of entitlement. Machiavelli once said, The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. What he meant is this: sometimes keeping your word to one person means breaking your word to another. Sometimes being good to your family means being firm with your coworkers. Sometimes protecting your dreams means disappointing people who want to use your time. Strategic virtue isn't about being selfish. It's about being effective. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose effective kindness. Number 6, the illusion of gratitude. Here's something that will change how you see human nature forever. Gratitude is temporary. I know this might hurt to hear, but it's true. The favors you do for people, the help you provide, the sacrifices you make, they have an expiration date in people's memories. Repeated favors stop feeling like gifts and turn into obligations. What starts as thank you so much becomes, you should do this, becomes, why didn't you do this? You help your neighbor move. They're incredibly grateful. You help them move again 6 months later, still thankful but less excited. You help them a third time. Now they just expect it. The fourth time they need to move, they don't even ask. They just assume you'll help. And if you can't, suddenly you're the bad guy. This is human psychology. We adapt to good treatment. We take it for granted. We start seeing exceptional kindness as normal treatment. In the end, people remember the advantage they got from you, not the kindness you showed them. This pattern repeats everywhere in relationships, workplaces, friendships, and families. The person who always says yes becomes the person everyone expects to say yes. The reliable helper becomes the automatic choice for every problem. And when that person finally sets a boundary or says no, they're treated as if they've betrayed everyone's trust. The more consistently kind you are, the less your kindness is valued. The more available you make yourself, the less special your availability becomes. The more you give without asking for anything in return, the more people assume your giving comes without cost to you. This is the illusion of gratitude. We think that doing more good things will make people more grateful, but actually it makes them less grateful because they expect more good things. The people who appreciate you most are often the people you help least frequently. The people who take you for granted are usually the people you help most often. This doesn't mean people are evil. It means people are human, and humans naturally adjust their expectations based on their experiences. Understanding this psychological reality doesn't mean you should stop being kind or helpful. It means you should be strategic about it. Set boundaries. Make your help conditional sometimes. Let people experience what it's like when you're not there to solve their problems. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everyone can see and few can feel. People see what you're doing now more clearly than they remember what you did before. Your past kindness becomes invisible. Your current actions are what they judge you by." Drop this affirmation in the comments. I create lasting impact. Number 7, results over intentions. The world judges outcomes, not motives. You might have the purest heart in the world. Your intentions might be golden, but if your actions don't create the results you want, none of that matters. History doesn't remember people who meant well. It remembers people who got things done. Let me ask you something. Would you rather be remembered as someone who was really nice but didn't accomplish much, or someone who might have seemed tough but actually made the world better? Most people choose the first option because it feels safer. But here's what they don't realize. Being remembered as just nice means being forgotten entirely. You see, there's a brutal but undeniable truth. Sometimes being truly good means doing things that don't look good in the moment. Surface-level kindness often creates temporary comfort, while tough decisions create lasting impact. A parent who disciplines their child isn't being mean. They're being good by teaching the child important lessons. A teacher who gives tough grades isn't being cruel. They're preparing students for the real world. A boss who sets high standards isn't being unreasonable. They're helping their team grow stronger. Real goodness is about results, not appearances. It's about creating positive outcomes, not just positive feelings. This is where most good people go wrong. They focus on being liked instead of being effective. They choose comfort over growth. They pick temporary peace over lasting positive change. But here's the truth. If you're not getting the results you want from your goodness, you're not being good enough. You're being nice, which is different. Nice people avoid conflict. Good people resolve conflict. Nice people tell people what they want to hear. Good people tell people what they need to hear. Nice people maintain the status quo. Good people create positive change. The world is full of nice people who accomplish nothing. What the world needs more of is good people who get results. Machiavelli once said, "The end justifies the means." Now, this doesn't mean you should do evil things to achieve good outcomes. What it really means is that your good intentions don't matter if they don't create good results. People don't live inside your heart. They live with the consequences of your actions. So remember this, real goodness requires courage. It requires you to prioritize outcomes over appearances. It requires you to stop asking, "Will they like me?" and start asking, "Will this actually make things better?" At the end of the day, people won't remember your intentions. They'll remember what you built, what you changed, and what you left behind. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I focus on outcomes. Number 8, legacy and survival. Let's talk about what really matters, how you'll be remembered, and what you'll leave behind. History doesn't honor the merely good. It honors those who survived, endured, and turned their outcomes into greatness. Think about this for a moment. Can you name 5 nice people from history? Probably not. But you can probably name 5 people who created lasting change, even if they weren't always pleasant to deal with. Steve Jobs wasn't known for being nice. He was demanding, perfectionist, and often difficult. But he created products that changed how billions of people live. I'm not saying you should be mean to people. What I'm saying is that being remembered for making a difference is better than being forgotten for being agreeable. Here's what most people don't understand about legacy. You can't leave a positive mark on the world if you don't survive long enough to make one. And survival in business, in relationships, in life, requires more than just being good. It requires being smart, strategic, and sometimes tough. The kindest people in the world can't help anyone if they get crushed by those who take advantage of them. The most generous people can't give anything if they give everything away too early. The most honest people can't speak truth if they get silenced by those who prefer lies. You have to survive first, then you can thrive. Then you can create the legacy you want. This means protecting yourself so you can protect others. Building yourself up so you can lift others up. Getting strong so you can help the weak. It's not selfish, it's strategic. It's not cruel, it's careful. It's not about abandoning goodness. It's about preserving it so it can actually make a difference. Look at the people who create lasting positive change in the world. They're not pushovers. They're not people pleasers. They're not afraid to say no, set boundaries, and make hard decisions. They understand that being good isn't about being weak. It's about being powerful enough to choose goodness when it matters most. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." What he really meant is this: respect matters more than affection. Impact matters more than popularity. Results matter more than feelings. You don't have to choose between being good and being strong. You can be both. You should be both. But if you have to choose, Choose strength first, because strength gives you the power to be good when it counts. Weakness just makes you a victim, even with the best intentions. We've covered a lot of ground today, but let me leave you with the most important lesson of all. Goodness without strategy is the most dangerous trap you can fall into. It makes you vulnerable to those who would exploit you. It drains your resources until you have nothing left to give. It creates expectations you can't sustain, and ultimately it prevents you from creating the positive impact you really want to make. But goodness with strategy that becomes a weapon of survival and influence. It becomes a tool for creating real change. It becomes the foundation for a life and legacy that actually matters. You now know the shocking cost of blind goodness. You understand why generosity can trap you, why gratitude fades, and why good intentions without good results are worthless. More importantly, you know how to transform your goodness from a weakness into a strength, how to be kind strategically, how to help effectively, how to create outcomes that matter. So here's the real question, and this is what will determine your future. Will you let goodness weaken you, or will you master it and turn it into power? The choice is yours, but now you have the knowledge to choose wisely. If this video opened your eyes to something new, hit that like button. If you want more truth that challenges how you see the world, subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Your goodness is not your weakness. When used strategically, it becomes your greatest strength. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.